machine only scans the sky to 12,000 feet. So it completely ignores all of the mid and high level clouds. That data is lost forever. So it was another mechanism in this grand conspiracy to create global warming. And that was thought of and planned out in the 70s and 80s. They knew they had to take the human element out of it and turn it over to computers because they could control the data coming out of the computers. So, my conclusion is that they really wanted a global tax on carbon. They wanted us to pay this tax so we could feel good about doing something for the planet. And they hijacked the green movement to do that. And I quit donating to Greenpeace. I quit donating to the Sierra Club. I quit donating to all of them because they're all corrupted from this group.
The
first one that will acknowledge chemtrails and that atmospheric pollution and how it impacts our climate, I'll start donating to again, and I'll do it aggressively.
Me too.
I just don't see that happening for a while.
Me too. Now, here's another question. With HARP and the scalar weaponry, I've heard, maybe I've even read about it on your own site, that one of the reasons the chemtrails are multitasking, one of the reasons why they have to spray in these patterns is to see if the scalar waves in the ionosphere are being affected by other countries. In other words, are we being attacked by scalar weaponry that can't be seen? It's invisible, and the only way they can tell is if this kind of gray haze is in the skies, and the patterns that it makes when it disperses tell us whether there is a HARP weaponry at play from somewhere else. Is that something that you've heard?
I think it's completely possible. Absolutely and completely possible. Yeah, and there's another layer of platforms that are being used to deliver this energy into the atmosphere. Off the top of your head, how high does a commercial airplane usually fly?
Gosh, I don't know, a few thousand feet, maybe.
Not much higher than the low 40,000 foot range.
Right.
So that's 8 miles up. All right. What's the lowest? What's the lowest the satellites can fly? You're at a minimum of about 120 to 150 miles, and at that point, the atmosphere of the Earth is going to expand and contract and drag you back down, and you'll burn up on re-entry. So we have this massive expanse in the atmosphere where we don't have a platform to get to, where we don't have the ability to, let's say, loiter, to go up there and orbit. So, you've heard of these little orbs, right? These silver orbs?
Yeah.
They work that zone of the atmosphere. These silver orbs will go up there, and we've back-engineered them, and we own many of them. Plus, there's probably some of the other darker races that participate in the weather modification as well. And I've heard from more than one source that all our military does with HARP is protect it, and the Greys and those people are the ones actually running it.
Wow.
So I really don't know how much of our military infrastructure is actually run by our military.
Who's paying for all this?
Well, honestly,
dare I take a guess? Am I sitting in the chair that's paying for all this stuff to kill us?
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Where do you think it comes from? Black operation money, like drug money stuff?
I think as long as these corporations will gladly take Federal Reserve dollars as payment, then if you can, why pay taxes if you can just print the money?
True.
And so they have two mechanisms the only reason we pay taxes, it's an enslavement thing. The other aspect, and all of these black ops have their own fundraising mechanism, and the money pours from the Fed and all of those banking families to operate their secret world.
Yeah.
You know, and it's known and understood, and we're the suckers on this side of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I really wouldn't worry about the money aspect of it. You know, and until the Fed is broke and bankrupt, it's going to happen. So that's the first thing that'll happen to stop this is we have to bankrupt this country, and then it'll stop.
Well,
and that's going to be an amazing day.
I hope I see it. It will be in my lifetime because it has to happen. Why do you think so many people are in major denial about this? I mean, you've probably had the experience where you've been talking to somebody and you just even mentioned the word chemtrail and they just roll their eyeballs and, oh, yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. What is keeping people so wrapped up in denial and ignorance? Do you think it's just being dumbed down or being distracted by 10 jobs and 16 kids and what is it?
They don't care. They don't care.
Maybe you're right.
They really just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'll bring it up occasionally, but unless I'm outside, the last example, you know, we're just in the process of moving to southern Colorado, and the gal was installing, you know, the DSL line to the new house, and it was a project because she had to run some line, and we're up at 8,000 feet. And have a commanding view of the San Luis Valley, and it was an intense chemtrail day. And I said, "All right, Cheryl, come here, look at this." And I just gave her a quick blurb. She saw it and went, "Oh my God, I've never really noticed this before."
Yeah.
And what she was doing was a 3-hour job. So there were a couple of opportunities. I think I took 4 of them to point out this, point out that, and look at those 2 planes there. They're flying in, right at 90 degrees to that old trail. One came out one end, one came out the other end of that old segment of a chemtrail. And she's like, "Oh my God, I would have never known to look for that." But that's the thing is, I really don't like to bring it up and talk about it with other people unless I can take them outside and show it to them.
Yeah.
And then it's in their face, and then they have to deal with it. But the other aspect of this, Lance, is how do you process that?
Well, that's probably where most people shut down. It's like the same thing with 911 being somehow part of a inside job. The moment you bring up the 911 truth movement, people just go running, screaming in the other direction. And this is one of those things where people's incredulity is stretched so far that they just can't even begin to fathom it. So the first thing to do is reject it or attack the person who's telling you.
Yep. Well, and I can't say that I wasn't there when it came to the chemtrail thing. I was 5 years I knew that word, but I could not get behind it as a conspiracy, quote unquote, until I had a motive. I needed a motive. And then logically and reasoning wise, I could okay, that's it. And then I could talk about it.
Well,
I
first heard about him from somebody who was renting a small house from me about in 1997, I think. And she took me outside and pointed up and said, she was an old hippie. And she said, now look up to the government or somebody is spraying these things in the air. And she called them chemtrails. And she pointed out the patterns and the X's and the Y's and the tic-tac-toes and all that, and I could see them. And I remember thinking, I was kind of like in the ozone. It was like, okay, well, sure, lady, that's good. And then I forgot all about it for about 6 or 7 years until I started seeing them myself. But
honestly, I probably wouldn't be doing this if it hadn't been for other people who had written about them and become very vocal 10 years ago. And I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative for their work and their research and their attempts to bring the word, because it got me on board. And I'll tell you, every single newsroom in this country is aware of chemtrails. Every single Every single weather department is aware of chemtrails. They're aware of weather modification, and they know my name. Every single one.
Wow. And now they're told not to talk about it then by now.
No, they're just chicken shit. They're just chicken shit.
Well, the media is controlled. We know that.
They control themselves. They really do control themselves.
You don't think there's anybody overseeing what gets us what information?
At the network level, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
And the network owns, every, NBC may own, I don't know what they're allowed to own right now, but at least 12 stations. Yeah. And so there's just such a consolidation of power in the networks, and there are topics that are not allowed. And weather modification and chemtrails and getting this secret out is one of the things that I kind of hunger for the day to see, but I don't know what people are going to do when they realize the grand extent of the lie that's been perpetrated. Mm-hmm. What really is called for by all of us is a sense of detachment as we kind of come to terms with what's going on, because otherwise, they own you. They own you through the fear that they've created. And Lance, we know that they've got a lot of cards, a lot of conspiracy cards they can play. Yeah. They've got 9/11, they've got JFK, they've got Federal Reserve, they've got, so many things that they can slowly roll out on a time schedule as they reveal who they really are. Yeah. And don't think that isn't a part of their agenda, is to tell the truth at some point. And then the conspiracy, absolutely. Because they've got a timeline for disclosure. Then they've got to bring out, the aliens, and, all the conspiracy people will jump up and say, told you so. Yeah. But then that's still, 85 to 90% of the people are still going to be flushing their emotional bodies with fear. And that's exactly where they want them. They want them afraid.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's a very good point. And that's why it's a good advice, it's sound advice when approaching any of these subjects, to go into it with an open mind and with the idea that it's not something that we need to be afraid of. It's already happened, so we don't need to be afraid of something in the past. We're empowering ourselves by discovering the truth and sharing our observations with our loved ones, with people we care about.
Yep. And I think it's a little bit incumbent upon us to do that. But at the same time, we can inform, but we can't push it down their throats.
No.
And we can't make them believe it, because that law of allowance is still out there.
That's right.
And that is a law that is immutable, as is the law of attraction. So these people that have been perpetrating all of this, this energy is going to come back at them magnified.
One would hope so.
Well, that's just how karma works. Yeah. And there is an energy, there is a Lord, there is somebody that is taking precise. I mean, this is a precision game. Mm-hmm. This is a precision game. So you just can't worry about it. You just can't.
Right. That's right. Well, it certainly stimulates a desire to be more closely connected to spirit, because we can see that the things of this world are very dangerous and most likely are going to kill us sooner or later. We're going to all go, but it does kind of raise your awareness when you start reading about genetically modified foods and how they damage the organs of animals, and the seed bank that's being set up for some future date, and lots of other things that we just don't want to face. But we put off facing them for so long that I'm afraid that it's going to seem like we're just getting slapped around left and right once this all starts to hit the fan.
Well, I think it's really up to us to, how do we say it? You recognize the game for what it is. Yeah. You smile, you thank it, you bow, and you back out.
Right. That's right.
Really, because on the whole, it has served our development. It has served our unfoldment. Yeah. It has served us. And that's really how, we develop that detachment, is by thanking it for all that it has given us. And if we, if we didn't want this intense of a school, buddy, we wouldn't have signed up for it.
That's right.
We wouldn't